How can we make progress towards our highest, most important goals instead of wandering around aimlessly in life? This is the life lesson we'll learn from the 20th star of Vedic Astrology, Shravana, the Pathwalker. In this series, Life Lessons of the Vedic Nakshatra, we'll discover how life really works by exploring the 27 constellations through the mystical Sanskrit words of the Vedic Nakshatra Sutra. So in this installment of Life Lessons from the Vedic Nakshatras, we're going to learn about Shravana Nakshatra, which is also called Śravaṇa Nakshatra, and what does the sutra about this nakshatra teach us about life. So there I mentioned the word sutra. That's because we're deriving all the wisdom in this video series from something called the Nakshatra Sutra, something that we call the Nakshatra Sutra, which is 27 lines, one line per star, taken from a chapter of a book called Taittiriya Brahmana, which is a very ancient Vedic book. And so as always, I'd like to start our exploration of this sutra by listening to the actual Sanskrit put to musical form with these very musical instruments. So here it is, please enjoy. Vishnu Shona Chamana Purasa Panthavasta Vishnu Shona Chamana Purasa Panthavasta. So this sutra is unlike the other sutras because there's two parallel ways you can read it. The main way I'll translate this nakshatra for now, here in this video, is the limping walker needs a goal to walk the path. But just so you know, the same words can also be seen to mean the experienced perceiver needs to inquire to establish a path. So let's talk about the Sanskrit words in this sutra and why they have this double meaning. So there's 4 words that are really important that we need to know, particularly about this sutra. The first one is Vishnos. Vishnos means belonging to Vishnu, of Vishnu. Vishnu is a word which means the thing which permeates everything else because it's the essence of everything. That's what Vishnu means, the thing which is in everything because it is the essence of everything. And so the god named Vishnu has 2 roles in Vedic culture. 2 ways you can see this god Vishnu. One way is simply as the god of locomotion. He's actually the god of feet, which are the sense for locomotion, moving around. And that makes sense because he's all pervasive. He's everywhere. The person who's everywhere knows how to get everywhere and can get there really fast. And so if you look at Vishnu that way, then you're going to get a reading of this sutra as the limping walker. The walker, the locomotor, needs to fix a goal to walk the path. But another role that Vishnu plays is not just the locomotive role, not just a physical sense of being everywhere, but what is the essence of everything? What is everywhere? What is the essence of everything that exists? That is consciousness. See, everything that exists is something that you can experience. So what is the essence of everything you can experience? The experiencer. The thing which experiences is the essence of all experiences, right? So everything that exists is an experience. Its basis is an experiencer. That's Vishnu, the consciousness. The consciousness is the perceiver, the experiencer. So Vishnu is the god of consciousness. So if you think of it that way, consciousness meaning perception, then the sutra means the experienced perceiver. The experienced experiencer needs to inquire to establish a path. The next important word in this sutra is Śravaṇa. Now I know it's usually called Shravana. We're used to it these days being called Shravana, but the older name is Śravaṇa, and I'll show you how they mean basically the same thing. So Śravaṇa describes somebody who has done a lot of walking, literally speaking. The literal meaning of the word is somebody who's walked a lot. The word Śravaṇa means someone who's walked a lot, and therefore it's used to mean somebody who's experienced. They're mature, right? That's the primary meaning of the word Śravaṇa. Another meaning of the word Śravaṇa, therefore, is somebody who's old. They've done a lot of walking. They've experienced a lot of things. They're matured. And so, therefore, Shravana also implies somebody who's kind of slow. The word doesn't mean, but the word is usually applied to describe somebody who's old, walks slow, walks with a limp, walks with a cane. So that's why I'm saying in the translation, the limping walker. That's the Shravana, and Vishnu is the locomotion. So Vishnu Shravana is the limping walker, the slow walker, the old walker. But if it's Vishnu as consciousness, then Shravana is like the experienced, the mature perceiver. Okay? Now the more common name for this nakshatra is Shravana. But Shravana means basically the same thing. Shravana is talking about somebody that's listened a lot, who's heard a lot, and who's therefore learned a lot. So Shravana means somebody who's very experienced, he's walked a lot. And Shravana means somebody who's very experienced, they've learned a lot. So it's the same basic meaning. The third word in the sutra that I want to go over for you is prichamana. This is the parasa, this is the thing that the nakshatra needs. Prich means to ask a question, but it's not just any old question. It's a question about the future. It's a question about a goal, right? So prichamana means asking a question about where you're going, asking a question about what the goal is. So that's what the pathwalker needs. The pathwalker needs to know the goal, right? And that's also what the perceiver needs. The perceiver needs to know what to perceive. So it needs to ask questions about what should I go out and experience? I'm an experiencer. What should I experience? And finally, we get the word panta. And this is the avastat. This is the thing that will come out from the nakshatra. This is what the nakshatra can produce. Panta means a path. What path means a way that people walk, right? So it means an established way of moving, established way of going. That's why in Indian literature, panta is always used to refer to a tradition or a school of thought or a sect. A group of people who do things a certain way are called a panta. So there's your 4 important words from the sutra. Now let's put them together and summarize the meaning. So as I've been saying, we're going to look at this sutra in 2 ways. First, we'll look at it in the sense of Vishnu, meaning locomotion, going somewhere. Then the sutra is about the person who's struggling to go somewhere, Shravana, a person that's not moving so well. The reason why they're struggling is because they need more prichamana. They need to ask more about their goal. They need to clarify their goal. If they clarify their goal and their objectives, then they'll be able to go on that panta, on that fast lane, on that fast track. Okay, that's what the sutra is saying. And then, if you read it with Vishnu meaning consciousness, not just locomotion, and it's a similar meaning but with a very interesting twist. So it says, now the sutra is about the experienced perceiver. The experienced perceiver is tired of experiencing things. It's not new. It's not like when you're just born or when you just open up a box and you just want to see what's inside it and any old thing will be interesting. The experienced perceiver is old. I've already experienced a lot of stuff now. I'm kind of tired of experiencing stuff. Is there anything really that I should experience? So he slows down. He loses enthusiasm because he's old. What he needs is prichamana. He needs to figure out the real goal. He needs to figure out the real goal, the real thing that should be perceived, that he should experience, she should experience. What should we experience? We've experienced everything. And none of it has really done the trick. We still want to experience something else. So what's that thing that we're going to experience that's going to make us feel like, this is the thing that I want to experience. And even after we get it, we feel the same way. So that's what he has to ask questions about. That's what the experiencer has to ask questions about. Then, because they're an experienced perceiver, they will also set a trend. That's a verse in the Gita to this effect, yad yad acharti shrishtas. Whatever experienced people do, common people follow. That's how you establish panta, that's how you establish a path. So the experienced person should do something good. They should figure out prichamana, they should figure out the real goal, because people are going to follow their path. And really, this reading of the sutra is quite the same thing that the whole Veda is saying. The Vedanta Sutra, which summarizes the whole Veda, delivers this same message right in its opening statement. The opening statement of Vedanta Sutra is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. So now that you're an experienced perceiver, you should inquire into the supreme subject. And what is the supreme subject? Vishnu, or consciousness. Right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little more as we get into the life lesson of this sutra. So for the life lesson here, we're asking the question, how can we make progress towards our highest, most important goals, instead of wandering around aimlessly in life? Because this is what happens when Shravana Nakshatra doesn't function well. It produces wandering aimlessly. It produces Shravana, which is just stumbling around, not really making progress towards a destination. So how can we avoid that? Instead of wandering around aimlessly a little bit this way, a little bit that way, how can we actually make real progress, steady progress towards a real goal? And so what the sutra is saying is, hey, buddy, if you want to make progress towards a steady goal, your problem, the reason why you're not, is because you're not really clear about what that goal is. Now you may think, no, I'm really clear what that goal is, but you're probably not that clear about why that's the goal. You probably aren't so convinced that that's the goal, the thing that you're trying to go for. So what you need to do is ask more questions. Pratyammana. You need to clarify your goal so that you understand it and you really can see, this is really what I need. This is really what I want. Once you have a clear understanding of what a goal is and you really understand that, yeah, I really do want this, you move towards it. Because that's just the nature of action. Action always follows desires. When your desires are clear, your actions are clear. When your desires are unclear, you're not sure about what the right goal is, you're not sure if you really believe in what you believe in, all that stuff, then you just wander here and there. So what the sutra is saying is, hey, if you're not making progress, it's not about your technique. It's not the technique that's wrong. Pratyammana means asking about the goal, not asking about technique or methods. It's not the technique that's wrong. You don't have to learn some new way of being a productive, highly effective person. You just have to ask about the goal. What is this goal that I'm trying to achieve? Is it really worth it? Maybe you should stop limping off in that direction and get a goal that you really, really feel compelled about. That's what this sutra is telling you. Now, the sutra also teaches another really important life lesson that I want to bring up here. It's not just about how to achieve goals, but it's like, what is the ultimate goal? Right? How do we make progress towards our highest and ultimate goals? Well, what are those highest and ultimate goals? The sutra is also hinting at it. Because what it's saying is Vishnu. It's saying that consciousness is the ultimate goal. And this is amazing, right? So if you think about it, whatever goal that you may have, it's going to be some type of experience that you get. Even if it's owning something, it's the owning of it isn't very wonderful. It's the experience of the fact that you own it, or the experience of the object that is the thing that you want. So what you really want, whatever it is, whether it's to be a millionaire, whether it's to have 5 children, whether it's to get a divorce, whatever you really want, it's not what you really want. What you really want is a certain experience of something. Now, so all of our desires, all of our pratyamanas, all the goals that we set for ourselves are experiences that we seek. So think about that then. What is the most highest goal? The thing that is really important is the experience that the experiencer has. All the things that are experienced in the experiencer. You experience everything. So what's the most wonderful thing? The object you experience? No. The experience itself is more important than the object. What's the most important thing? The experience itself? No. The experiencer. The experience is impossible without the experiencer. Right? So what the sutra and what the Vedas are trying to teach is, you want to know what the most amazing goal is? The most amazing goal is Vishnu. The most amazing goal is consciousness, perception. Not just to use your consciousness, not just to use your perceptions, but to be able to perceive the perceiver, to be able to experience the experiencer. That is the most amazing goal. And the Vedas, they encourage you, that's what the Vedas do, is actually they establish the pratyamana and the panta for Vishnu, for the goal of for Shravana, of Vishnu, for walking towards Vishnu, for experiencing consciousness itself. They establish the pratyamanam, which means they make it clear that this is the goal by explaining the kind of things that I just explained to you. And they establish the panta also, the way of getting there, the path. Here's how you do it. You will have to take charge of your mind. And in order to take charge of your mind, you'll have to placate your motivations to focus your mind outward and let it run free. So there's a whole system. The Vedas give a whole system for how you can take charge of your own mind and direct its focus so that you can focus back in on the perceiver. So the Vedas are the most wonderful fulfillment of the Shravana Nakshatra, because the Vedas establish the ultimate goal and the ultimate means of achieving the goal. So everybody should study, learn whatever you can about the Vedas from an accurate source. But especially if you're blessed with something to do with Shravana, which might not always mean that you have Shravana in your birth chart. Maybe you're born in the Shravana Mas, for example, in the month of Shravana. Maybe there's just a nice transit happening in Shravana Nakshatra right now. Take those opportunities to learn whatever you can about the Vedas, because it's the most important stuff that you can learn. Don't miss the life lessons from the other 26 star clusters of Vedic astrology. Subscribe to my channel now. And keep your ears up for announcements about the release of this book and the next online classes about it. Thanks.